It is viewers like you that make videos like this possible. Please support MickeyMousePark.com.
Behind the gates of Frontierland is the inspirational America of the past century. Here is the treasure of our native folklore, the songs, tales, and legends of the big men who built the land.
While most guests think that the Frontierland theme is focused on America's 19th century, Wild West decades, this area actually gives prominent nod to America's 18th century Revolutionary War era. The last major addition to Frontierland roster of varied vessels, majestic Columbia, is as described in Disneyland's Big Attractions poster, a full-rig, three-masted sailing ship that takes a voyage of discoveries on the rivers of America. That voyage began in 1958. The year of the ship was dedicated under the supervision of Walt Disney and naval officials. The ship's design was inspired by the original Columbia, a privately owned sloop that in 1790 became the first American windjammer to circumnavigate the globe. To some nautical experts, however, the actual design is closer to that of a famous Fletcher Christian in 1789. Columbia contemporary, the Bounty, the infamous ship captained by William Bligh and commandeered by a mutiny. Since the designs for Bligh's Bounty were indeed examined during the construction of Disneyland's Columbia, it's possible that the park's ship is a blend of both classic vehicles. Whatever its backstory, the Columbia is a wonderfully appointed replica, accurately capturing the spirit of the great age of sail, even if it doesn't accurately replicate the propulsion of that time. Despite appearances, engine power, not wind power, drives the ship. The ship's main mast towers 84 feet. The decks hold 275 to 300 guests, and a 110-foot-long hull displays 10 cannons, one of which is fired occasionally during a 12 to 14-minute tour around Tom Sawyer Island. To accommodate the addition of such a large vessel on the Frontierland waterways, the park added a new dock and landing, Fowler's Harbor, to the southwest corner of the Rivers of America. Architect Ray Wallace was commissioned in 1957 to work with Fowler in creating the construction plans. The ship was constructed at Todd Shipyards in San Pedro, California, where the Mark Twain's Hall was built a few years earlier. After Fowler told Disney that it was customary to put a silver dollar under each mast before it was set, Disney personally put a silver dollar under each of the Columbia's 3 masts. Today the Columbia sails in daylight hours with narration and sailing music as accompaniment. At night it is figured prominently as a pirate ship and phantasmic. Occasionally it has also been transformed into a ghost ship for Halloween-related special events. The Columbia is still rightfully considered one of the proud flagships of Disneyland's diverse fleet. When Walt Disney decided that the rivers of America needed more river traffic and wanted another large ship to join the Mark Twain, he asked Joe Fowler, who was Disneyland's construction supervisor and former naval admiral, to pick a historic sailing ship for inspiration. After examining every maritime museum in the country, Fowler recommended the first American sailing ship to go around the world, the Columbia Redivia. However, there is only one known picture in existence of the original windjammer. Wed researchers used it along with research materials from the Library of Congress to design the Columbia. For the ship's christening on June 4, 1958, Fowler was dressed as a sailing captain of the 18th century, while the Musketeers appeared as his crew. Since then, the sailing ship Columbia has had many extensive refurbishments, but the only major change has been the addition of the crew quarters exhibit in 1964. On January 11, 2016, the sailing ship Columbia, along with the other attractions and shows along the rivers of America, closed temporarily for the construction of a Star Wars-themed land. The attraction reopened in summer 2017. Passengers wait for the 110-foot-long ship, which departs every 25 minutes, inside a sheltered area called Frontier Landing, located in the Frontierland section of the park. The waiting area, which the 84-foot-tall Columbia shares with the Mark Twain, is made to resemble a real dock, with cargo deliveries sharing space on the dock. Historic United States flags are displayed at the attraction's entrance. Passengers board the full-scale replica of the original sailing ship Columbia by climbing stairs, also known as the Brow, up to the main deck. Once on board, they can visit a nautical museum below decks, which shows what life was like for the 1787 crew. In addition to the galley, pantry, dry stores, and sick bay, there are quarters for the crew, bosun, and bosun's mate, First mate, captain, and surgeon. Once the ship casts off, it begins its voyage around the rivers of America. The ship, which has 3 masts and rigging but rarely unfurls its sails, is powered by a compressed natural gas engine. It runs along the same track as the Mark Twain, hidden in the green dye in the water. The captain provides a tongue-in-cheek running commentary as he calls orders to his crew, while recorded background music plays a selection of nautical songs, such as Blow the Man Down. As the ship passes Fort Wilderness on Tom Sawyer Island, a Columbia cast member fires 2 12-gauge blanks from one of the ship's 10 cannons. The fort also had a cannon that used to fire back. For most of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, the Columbia was a D ticket attraction, occasionally upgraded to an E ticket.
Ahoy, shipmates! You have just set sail aboard the proud Columbia, an exact replica of the first American vessel to completely circle the globe. Forward amidships is the hatchway lead-in below decks, where you may see how sailors of the 1790s lived and worked while on the open sea. The original Columbia, a 10-gun, 3-masted ship of 212 ton, left Boston Harbor on her maiden voyage in September 1787. She sailed to the Pacific Northwest, Hawaii, China, and continued around the world, returning to Boston town almost 3 years later. Journey with us now, just as our hardy forefathers did in the days of wooden ships and iron men. On her maiden voyage around the globe, carrying the flag of young America, the Columbia sailed around Cape Horn and turned north, skirting the shores of the Pacific. Finding shelter in a northwest coast.
Specs: capacity 1128 per hour, capacity 305, cycle time 16 minutes 23 seconds, load time 4 minutes 1 second, unload time 4 minutes 1 second, trip time 13 minutes 23 seconds, dispatch interval 16 minutes 23 seconds, trips per hour 4, distance traveled 2,300 feet, speed 2.1 miles per hour. The engine controls. Hand signals the cast members use.